Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule of the Galaxy fans. It is Joe in the pilot seat. We are sitting at chapter 185. And gosh, we're kind of just gonna spitball it tonight. We don't really have an agenda. It's getting close to the holidays, and we just wanted to have some fun before Christmas and New Year's. We all get busy with family and everything like that. But as always, check us out. Follow us, listen to us, whatever. Go check us out on Twitter and Instagram. Rule the Galaxy SW. Email us, rulethe@gmail.com. On TikTok, DDoc probably is still putting stuff on there, but I can't keep up with TikTok. And it's Star Wars, or it's Rule of the Galaxy podcast on TikTok. Sorry. On Facebook and YouTube, it is just Rule of the Galaxy. And last but not least, if you want a hat like this, if you want anything with the cool Rule of the Galaxy logo, go to Etsy.com, type in Rule the Galaxy, all in one word, no spaces. You'll find us there. But it is chapter 185. We are, again, getting ready for the holiday season. And we thought we'd have a little Star Wars fun before that got here. And I'm sitting here with one of the rocks of the show, my co-host, Alfie. How are you, Alfie?
Doing good, man. Thanks for that intro.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they pay me for. I'm like the Ed
Right.
McMahon of this thing right here. So
You really set me up there. I appreciate it.
well, you're the book of Alfie, and you also are probably just happy as can be because I saw those images of those Boba Fett vintage characters that the comic one from Marvel way back when.
The Empire Strikes Back Marvel Boba
Yes.
Fett, and then the Dark Horse Dark Empire Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Man, those look good. But yeah, I hate to jump into it without DDoc here, but man, that price point, $23 for vintage collection.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
I sent you a picture the other day, and we've got to connect because I've got a lot of stuff here that I've either got extras or duplicates or different things like that. And I'm just trying to clean house. And the price point is one of the reasons why I'm kind of saying, hey, I'm at a point where I'm deciding, am I going to have all these or am I going to break away a little bit? That's just pricey for a 3 3/4 vintage collection figure.
I even bought that second Obi-Wan Black Series figure the other day at Target. I can't remember something station.
Yes.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm guilty because I bought it, but it was $27 when the other Black Series are $22 or something like that. Why was this one more expensive?
Was it?
I just don't get it. I don't think it was an exclusive, but what does being exclusive have to do with the price going up?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are these Boba Fett figures? I get that they're Target exclusives, but why are they almost $10 more than a regular vintage collection figure?
Yeah, I don't know. And
can I talk?
Azalea's here. Hey, everybody. As we're going along, Azalea, hey, say hi. Wave to Uncle Joe over here.
Can you say hi to everybody?
Go ahead, say hi now. I heard you say, "Can I talk?" You better talk.
Yeah, she's not going to talk now. She's just
okay. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the cute little Azalea sitting next to Alfie right there, and she's in her Spider-Man pajamas. So,
we are all Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man, as Steve Glosson would say, Spider-Man. We're doing the web slinger action there, Azalea.
Oh yeah, it's all day, every day.
That's the one thing I miss about having little kids, Alfie. My kids are all old and grown up, and yes, I've got a grandson, but 3-month-old grandson.
Yeah, just wait.
I know. So DDoc's going to be joining us here in a second. He just put a battery in his truck, if I'm not mistaken, because he's a multi-talented person. DDoc, how you doing?
Doing good. Yeah, it was I think it was record timing. I think I got that. I think that I got the new one in probably about 20 minutes. So not bad. Car
Wow.
batteries used to freak me out because I feel like I'm going to get electrocuted every time I'm working on them.
Yes.
One guy at work just told me, do it this way. That's it. The battery's not going to blow up in the middle of you doing it. But
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah.
You
So I kind of
know,
felt like I was like working on the Millennium Falcon, kind of like Han Solo and Chewie out there.
did
And
you?
batteries aren't easy anymore either.
No.
I had a Tahoe that it was a few hours to change a battery. The amount of stuff you had to take apart.
They have all these bars in the
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Aren't those like safety bars where you've got to kind of maneuver around them and all that kind of stuff? I mean, I don't know. It's been a while.
You have to
since I've
take them
changed a
out.
battery. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to fully remove 2 bars that were in the way, and the bolts are not in the best places. So, fun stuff.
You know what else is fun is well, first of all, I have to ask: did you film you doing the car battery?
I didn't, and I wish I did.
Yes, that would have been great content for you on your multi-million followers on TikTok that you have and Instagram and everything else. DDoc, the media king. You guys have trouble with batteries. I have trouble just replacing the bulb in the headlights. That little thing where you got to go behind, twist it, turn it, pull it, all that stuff. You know, there's a reason for Google.
You don't do that anymore. Like my Ram, you have to take the whole front end apart to replace the light bulb.
Yeah, I had to take the front right fender, disconnect the front right fender to get a new light on the right side of my truck. It's a GMC. I'm just like, I got this truck thinking like, it's GMC. I'll be able to work on it. Everything should be pretty normal. No, it's not.
Listen to us. A bunch of old men telling kids to get off our lawn, talking about how rough our days were. You young kids, you don't know what it was like when you just changed oil in 5 minutes with the pan underneath. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I'm saying that to you, DDoc, and I could almost be your dad. But I don't think Brent's going to be able to get with us tonight. I know, he's in the teaching profession, and as we get closer to the holidays, he's got a lot of stuff ramping up that he's got to get taken care of. Nick apologized. Nick and I are going to try to connect here before the holidays sometime. But he's, with him being really involved with the church, Wednesday nights are busy, Sundays all day are busy, and then he's got 2 little kids under like 3 years old that are keeping he and his wife busy. So he couldn't be here. But yeah, I want to ask you guys real quick. Did either one of you guys listen? And I know, Alfie, you don't even listen to podcasts, even though you're on one. Did you listen?
No, I don't.
The show that I did last week with Jimmy Mack, Adam Bray, and Scott Rife.
Hi to DDoc.
Yes, I did listen to it, Joe.
Yeah, I just to take a step back and think about it, to think that I don't know, DDoc or Alfie, you guys think about it in the things you do, somebody who stands out like a luminary in the field, right? And yes, we love Scott Rife and we love Adam Bray, and they are great, and they're always on the show, and they're friends of the show. But to not only meet Jimmy Mack while we were down at the ICCC in Nashville, and then for him to say, "Yeah, I'll come on and hang on your show," this guy has how many followers, how many listeners on Rebel Force Radio, and for him to take the time to do that was really cool. And I like I told you guys, I kind of just was like the ringmaster. I just would throw something out there and then sit back and let those guys go. We were hoping Steve Glosson was going to be on. He couldn't be on, but I think about it. I listened to the show. I don't think we had enough airspace if we would add Steve Glosson on there, because those guys can all talk about Star Wars a lot, and it would have been a vacuum completely. But thanks for letting me do that. And those guys wanted to put that together. So yeah, last week's show, Jimmy Mack, Adam Bray, Scott Rife, and that was a lot of fun. And then they went, and the things we were talking about on our show, Jimmy Mack took on the Rebel Force Radio and talked about them on Rebel Force Radio with Scott Rifen's sound effects and all that kind of stuff from Galaxy's Edge. So
yeah, I need to listen to that, because wasn't Rifen saying he recorded bathroom sounds?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I need to go listen to that.
He recorded the audio that was playing over the speakers in the Galaxy's Edge bathrooms. And he started off the comment. He's like, "Hey, Jimmy, did you get my email?" And we were like, he's like, "No." And he goes, "Well, it was about me in the bathroom." And I'm just sitting there going, "Where are we going with this?" Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it's just interesting. Those guys are a lot of fun, and can't wait to to have them on again in the near future. Before we get into all kinds of things, Bad Batch and Star Wars Legion and Patty Jenkins, and I didn't even have notes before we started. I was like, we're gonna shotgun this thing, but then I was like, can't be unprofessional. I'm gonna have some notes, so I wrote a few things. But while Alfie and I were getting things ready, DDoc, and you were working on the battery, just listen to some of these names of people we've had on Rule the Galaxy in the last year. So Jimmy Mack, Adam Bray, Scott Rifen, Jake James Lugo, Jack Harvey, IndyCar driver, Steve Glosson, the Duchess, Jessica, and we had Flynn Hendricks, who we met at ICCC, Rhodian Radio, Chris Kimpshall, who is an author who wrote a really cool book about Star Wars. We talked to the guys from the Indiana Toy and Comic Expo, Damon One Kenobi, Ryan McGee from ESPN, the Garrison Talk Show, the other podcast that's talking about Star Wars Legion with Brent, Jonathan Davis, Star Wars voice actor, Mark Thompson, Star Wars voice actor. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going all over the place here. Oh, Kerwin and Keith from the Father and Son Galaxy podcast, Drew Karpyshyn, who wrote the Bane series, First to Cairo, Mark Newbold, T-Bob, Mark Anthony Austin, John Jackson Miller, Kevin Scott. I mean, the crew from the ICCC down in Nashville. I mean, that's in 1 year. All those people were guests on our show, which is absolutely
It's
crazy
insane.
to think about. Yeah, crazy. I mean, the people we're talking to and the community that's going on out there, and for those of you who just had to listen to me rattle off that long list, I apologize, but it just blows me away. Here it is, December, and thinking about, oh man, in January, I was remembering, who do I want to get on the show? How do we want to plan this out? And here it is, December, and looking at all these people who came through and were a part of what we did. And man, it's just great. So I just had to ramble that. What are your thoughts, DDoc, on I mean, can you believe some of those guests we had on there?
No, I think it's awesome just because for me, even like if I discover a podcast, like podcasting is something that doesn't always need to be in the now when you listen to it. So it's kind of cool to think that people can discover our podcast and go back and look on some of those episodes, because you can go back and listen to us talk about Kenobi or whatever with like some of those guests, and you can kind of relive that stuff, but you also get to learn a lot about these guys when they're on, because it's like, even if a show is going on or whatever, it's like, just like last week's episode, that was a big guest for you to have on, but it's like, I'm just sitting there listening to it and I'm like, this is just another episode of Rule the Galaxy podcast. He's here riffing and talking with the guys, and it's just the best part about all of this. I mean, we get used to our schedule of doing this every week. I love doing it every week, and it's like, we get to talk to all these cool people and put it out there. It's really fun. It's awesome.
Yeah, it has been great. Alfie, how about you? I know you were running around there. Can you believe, looking back at the last year, of all the people we've had as guests, and all the discussions we've had? I mean, we've covered a lot of stuff, but whether it's authors, whether it's voice actors, whether it's people from other podcasts, we've had tons of people on here.
We've had tons of people on here, not just the people we've had on, but the places we've gone, and the experiences we've had.
Yep. Yeah. Indiana Toy and Comic Expo. That was fun. The ICCC down in Nashville. That was a blast. And I'm sure heck, even we went to the Great Ohio Toy Show, right? I mean, didn't we go to that this year at some point in time? Oh, we did, like in March.
Yeah, in March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of money with a lot. Yeah, we
did.
Good friend of the show, Tom Line, who refuses to come on and say hi or anything, but he sure is ready to go when there's an adventure involved. So
I'm pretty sure I bought the figures that he bought at the Great Ohio Toy Store or show from him.
Yes. Well, Tom's kind of like being like me. He said, "Hey, I've got to get some stuff cleared out. I've got a room full of stuff, and do I need all this as we move forward?" And so he's kind of doing some of that purging that I was doing as well. So to go along with that, in the last year, DDoc had another child, right? So number 3, right. Joey had his first son, my grandson, during this year. I went to Italy. DDoc, you went to Galaxy's Edge, right, this year?
Yeah. Yes.
Alfie, did you go to Galaxy's Edge this year, or was that
No, not this year. We were supposed to, but we canceled.
okay? Just couldn't get in that Galactic Star Cruiser, right? It was having a hard time getting into
No,
that.
it's pretty easy now.
So yeah, like I said, guys, I didn't really have a major agenda tonight. I just thought it'd be good, let's riff, like we said. I think that's the way to go as we get close to the end of the year here and look back at things and look forward to things. But I did, I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about the Bad Batch. We were texting about it with the release of the new trailer for that and everything. I've really, over the past so many years, whether it be Clone Wars or Rebels or the new Jedi series that came out, things like that. Um, I've really started to really like Star Wars animation almost as much as live action stuff. And this Bad Batch first season was a little weekly adventure some of the time, right? But the next season looks pretty powerful. Looks like there's a lot of things going on. Kind of interested to see what's going to happen now that Order 66 has happened and people had to choose whether they're on the Empire or on their own. So what are your guys' thoughts on the trailer and the upcoming season of that?
You want to hit it first, Alfie?
Go ahead, DDoc.
Yeah, I mean, I just think what you're talking about with the animation, Joe, it's definitely something I've gotten more into over the years too. And that trailer doesn't play like an animated show trailer. I mean, it's an epic trailer. And you know what? I have no freaking clue what the hell is going to happen this season in that show. I don't know where it's going to go, what it's going to lead to. There's obviously going to be bits and pieces of, Star Wars lore that we know about that I'm sure they're going to tie in. But yeah, I'm just excited to see where it goes. Omega looks a little older in it now, and I think it's going to be fun seeing this crew together for another full season of a show. I'm excited for it.
I think it's got to be at least another year or two down the line, right? I mean, because she looks older, they've all changed. They probably didn't just like finish last season and start right in. Plus, it's been what, a year and a half since Bad Batch was out.
Yeah, it's been a while, I think.
Yeah,
seems like a long time.
And plus, the color of their armor changed and everything too. That has nothing to do with the figures that they're going to want us to buy or anything. But
hey, I did hear last season of Bad Batch we had Rhea Perlman from Cheers, right? She was in there. This year we're having Wanda Sykes. Would you believe that Wanda Sykes would be any part of Star Wars at all? Seems like a different fit, but we'll see where that goes with that character.
Got a good voice, so I mean, it could work.
Yeah. So Alfie,
I'm curious to see if we pick up on any of the storylines from the first season. Like, are the bounty hunters just done chasing Omega? Will we see, Cad Bane come back or Fennec Shand? Will we go back to the mountain at some point?
That's what I'm wondering. Mount Tantus, yeah.
Looks like we're going to see some more commandos, Commander Cody. I really feel like there's got to be a big in for Commander Cody. I know he's not nearly in the series as much as Rex, but I mean, he was Obi-Wan's clone. I feel he deserves a good ending. And
he was the only one who we really got dialogue from in the actual movies, right? In Revenge of the Sith, he was the only one that really gave a lot of dialogue.
Personal dialogue, yeah. I feel like there was plenty of clones dialogue, but more of like orders, things, directions.
Right.
Cody had some actual personal dialogue with Obi-Wan before they landed on Utapau, and then when he gives the saber back. Right.
So let's see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, could he last through and end up being in season 2 of Kenobi when they ramp that up on Disney Plus in the future, or will he get the axe here in Bad Batch before we ever get to A New Hope? We'll see, because we don't even know what's going to happen to that group of Bad Batch before we get to New Hope.
Yeah, do they get the axe?
Yeah. Maybe
what happens to Omega?
Maybe we kill them off one per season until we get to A New Hope. so they're not a problem when it
Will we
comes
see
to
what
that.
happens to the clones they shipped off?
That's a good question. I'm, you know, Alfie, that brings up a good point because in Rebels, they've kind of retired Rex, Wolf and Gregor, right? Because they were still
right.
connected to the Empire, but just retired and out, you know, chasing big worms in the dirt and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Will they do the same thing to other clones, or will they get rid of them? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good thought.
Interesting.
Very good thought.
Will we see some more sequels breadcrumbs, you know, with this whole cloning thing that I think is going to lead into the Mandoverse a little bit more.
Everything that I'm seeing makes me feel like we have to, if you're not going to scrap the sequel trilogy, which let's face it, no one I think is jumping in saying we're going to scrap it, but I do think they're going to try to retrofit it, and they're going to try to make it make sense with all
Right.
these different series that they're doing on Disney Plus. You know, little things here or there. And so you're right, Alfie. I think we're gonna have to see between this series, between the Mando, Ahsoka, and those kind of series, I think you're gonna have to weave through all those to get to where we want to get on the sequel trilogy.
I'm trying to remember too. Crosshair left on the ship with them in the last episode, correct?
No,
Did he not? Did he stay
he
back?
stayed on the pad.
Yep.
Okay. I couldn't remember that. Okay. So he's back to being a big jerk again. From the trailer, at least. I wanted to say the D word, but we'll keep it PG here, you know.
Okay. I mean, it is, you know, late. It can be after dark if we want.
It is true. We can do After Dark. He's a dick. There we go.
Last week.
Technically, then isn't all of our shows after dark then? Because
Yeah.
we always do them at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. I'll rule the galaxy after dark. That's just from here on out.
Do we have to
That's
call
what it is.
earmuffs first, or just let
unless it's T-Bob Indiana Central Time, which I
Yes.
remember that one time.
Yes. Gosh. And you know, again, T-Bob has told me, let's plan this out. Let's plan this out. Now that he had his third child, he is definitely wanting to come back. And which, by the way, speaking of that, I have a feeling T-Bob's going to be meeting up with Joey very soon. Joey's going to do a speaking engagement and some things with LSU and Purdue game down at the Citrus Bowl. And so I have a feeling they'll be running into each other and bumping elbows. I might ask Joe if he'll record some things for me while he's hanging out with T-Bob so he can put on the show. So
yes.
Yeah.
T-Bob was in his Star Wars shirt in the delivery room, and so was I actually. I was wearing my Star Wars hoodie for my first pictures with Addison, and then I see T-Bob posted his pictures that he's wearing his Star Wars like Hawaiian button-up shirt. You gotta love it. It's Star Wars finds its way into the delivery room.
That's awesome.
It's great.
That is awesome. You know, what was it? Magic Johnson, when his kid was born, he said, I want Luther Vandross over the speakers while my kid's being born. And they said, why? He goes, he was conceived with Luther Vandross. I want him to come out with Luther Vandross. Not the same as Star Wars, but you know, just put that in your mind there. Think about that.
Exactly.
Hey, Brent sent over some pictures today of Star Wars Legion. What did we have? We had what's his name? The
Moff Gideon and
Moff Gideon.
Dark Troopers.
Yeah. I was gonna say Commander Gideon. I don't know why. Yeah, Moff Gideon and the Dark Troopers. Those look pretty sweet.
Those look good.
Was that I didn't even get a chance to ask him. Had he painted those, or were those just product placement like photos that he
They're advertisements.
Okay. I tell you.
Yeah, I think they're straight from Legion.
I mean, honestly, I know you guys can't see this behind me, and I'll take him out here in front, but I mean, they're only this big, right? I mean, here's my thumb. Here's Captain Rex. But if you really wanted to get into collecting something and you didn't want to take up a lot of space, these figures that Brent paints for me, they're just awesome. I mean, they're size of half of your thumb, and they're awesome after he paints them. You got Cara Dune, Ahsoka, and Captain Rex that he's done for me. If I had the time, money, and effort, I think that's one of the things that I might collect, because you could just stage them and put them up a little bit of everywhere, and they don't take up much space, unlike all these other things behind me here. So, but yeah,
Or
I'm
you
excited.
could get into Lego, Joe. These guys aren't too big either. I've got Darth Vader sitting on my computer screen right here.
You guys, you know me, I'm always trying to think of my next business, my next plan. If I start throwing collectibles into all these things that I got working in my head and all my notebooks and everything, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 computer screens on my desk right now. I have a problem. I have a problem. Adding those in there would just take up too much time and everything. So yeah, shout out to Brent with Star Wars Legion. I'm glad he's finding his passion there, and I can't wait to take some more pictures and videos of the next time we get together so we can show all the work he's done. Alfie, you sent us Patty Jenkins came out with a nice little message for everybody about Wonder Woman.
I didn't send that.
You didn't send that to us? DDoc, did
No.
you send it to us?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, my bad.
Yes.
I think Alfie just came up with the good Marsha Brady Jan thing afterwards.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, there we go.
Sure, Jan.
That cracked me up.
Me too. So guys, I mean, there was kind of a shitstorm. Let's just face it, it's after dark. I mean,
Yes.
people saying, DC's in a shambles. Wonder Woman 3 gets all over the place, gets to be a mess. And of course, we had thought already that Rogue Squadron was shelved already, but in her little statement there, I don't know, were there any flicker of hopes of any of that stuff going in the future? I mean, I don't know.
She kind of makes the statement that if it were to ever come out of development, that there could be some hope.
Yeah, she almost sounds to me like someone from the outside looking in when it comes to the Star Wars aspect of it.
Yeah, it didn't really sound like there's anything, going on with this movie right now. Just they reached a certain point. We've got, maybe some paintings and models and, stuff sitting in a storage room somewhere. And if we ever want to break that out, we could start all over again.
With a new director.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's Ryan Johnson's trilogy, poof, Patty Jenkins, poof, Benioff and Weiss, see ya. I mean, we're just doing a hatchet job. We got a machete going on in all this process right now, and I'm sure there's more.
It's funny because as we're doing the podcast here, I see that James Gunn started tweeting. This is more about the DC stuff. But he's just like tweeting out a bunch of stuff right now, just being like, I want to get ahead of all this. This is what's going on, and I have more coming. But he said, we're going to be we've got our first slate of projects for next year, for the new year. Among those is Superman. In the initial stages, our story is focusing on the earlier part of Superman's life, and Henry Cavill will not be playing Superman. But we have met with Henry. We're big fans of him, and we're thinking about possibilities in the future. So,
we've talked about it, Alfie. That Kenner, Hasbro, those checks, those Disney checks, those DC checks, all those run out. People come running back, but it's really hard not to keep going back to the well. You can always make a Batman movie. You can always make a Superman movie. People will go see those, right? It's some of these other things that aren't hitting for them.
Yeah. And I mean, the first Wonder Woman was a moneymaker too, right?
It was good.
Yes. It was a good film.
It was.
And, you don't know what to make of all this news because just a few weeks ago, you had The Rock saying, he's been working so hard to get him back as Superman, and now he's not going to be Superman. Why wouldn't you capitalize on the traction you gained, that interest, and just for God's sakes, make a sequel to Man of Steel? I mean, is it really this hard that we have to keep reinventing and starting over? I understand that Gunn is coming in and taking over this world and, wants to mold things to his story, but why do you have to scrap everything else? Why can't you do a continuation? I mean, I'm not
No
nearly
idea.
as in depth with DC stories as I am Marvel, but I mean, it's comic books. There's got to be some type of multiverse or wormhole or something. It's a comic book movie. You can come up with a
Hmm.
logical reason why things change.
I agree.
I agree.
Hey,
Yeah, but and you
go
know
ahead.
what though too, on top of all this, I'm sure you guys have seen some of James Cameron's quotes as the Avatar advertisement slate has been going on. And I saw one from him today where he said, the third film is already, in there written. Like I think it said they even have it a decent amount of it filmed already.
I think so.
But yeah, he said he added a loophole to the third movie to where they can end it there if they don't do what they plan to do in the box office for this one. So it's like
Wow.
story just comes like obviously James Cameron's a guy who cares about story, cares about putting out the best thing that he can. But it just shows you how much pressure is on these movies anymore when they come out. It's like that's all that I see about Black Adam anymore is the fact that it didn't hit this mark that they expected it to hit. I don't see whether it was a good movie or not. I see the amount of money that it made. And people went and saw it in the theaters. It made hundreds of millions of dollars. But they want every single one to be blockbuster
Right.
level, and it
I just
plays a
don't.
huge role in this stuff.
I just don't think DC is, outside of, five characters is that well known to the general public. Maybe to guys like us or, real big fans, but it's just not as marketable to me as Marvel is. A lot of DC is very dark. Not that it's a bad thing, but when you're, trying to make a big blockbuster, a dark movie isn't necessarily outside of Batman isn't really that easy to market or to make money off of.
Yeah, I mean, once you get outside of the core group of the Justice League, out of core group of the cartoon that was out in the 70s where you had those core group right there that were meeting the Hall of
The Hall
Justice.
of Justice.
Yeah, I mean, once you get out of that, yeah, it's right. Ted, but wasn't it Ted Knight who did that?
I don't know, but
I think it was Ted
that
Knight
voice
from
just always
Caddyshack.
stick with me.
Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice. Yeah. I don't know. We're not a DC show, but it's all kind of intertwined. Marvel, DC, Star Wars, all those things. Speaking of things being intertwined, we were going back and forth. I think, it's I have not watched one episode of the Lord of the Rings series on streaming, and I have not watched one episode of the um what's the other one? Game of Thrones.
House of the Dragon.
House of Dragon. Haven't watched an episode of either one of those. So I couldn't tell you if they're any good or if they're intertwined, but you guys have, I've heard thumbs up and thumbs down on different things from those, but I don't know. I can't see myself jumping into it. I don't know about you guys, but like Mrs. Molinaro and I, we like to say, okay, let's focus. What's something we think might appeal to both of us if we're going to spend the time and watch it, right? She goes ahead and says, okay, anything Star Wars related, okay, that's a go because that's what you do, right? But when it comes to the other franchises, it's really more of a, are we both going to get something out of this, or if not, then Joe, you stay up in the middle of the night and watch it when you want, right? But I don't know. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I love the Fellowship and the Twin Towers and the Return of the King. I love that. But it just didn't draw me back in. The Hobbit movies didn't do anything for me. Watched a couple of those and I was like, okay. But these series, I'm sorry guys. I know you watched some of them, but I haven't watched any of them.
Yeah. You're not missing out with Rings of Power, so don't worry about it.
Yeah,
You're not missing anything.
I didn't care for that at all.
Okay. But the other one,
I loved Game of Thrones up until the last few seasons, and I really, really liked House of the Dragon.
okay.
Yes. House of the Dragon was top tier. and I was away for a second, so I guess you guys were talking about other
Yeah.
like things on TV. But
Well,
yeah, House of the Dragon set a different bar as far as storytelling goes and acting. And Rings of Power just wanted to show you a lot of cool visuals and lackluster fight scenes with no story attached to it, in my opinion.
okay, so the Game of Thrones, Alfie, I know we've talked about it 100 times, and I've got other people, my friend, Mass, who used to be on the show. We talk about it, love Game of Thrones, all this stuff. So I brought up to you guys, and I think I even put it on Twitter or something, that Amelia Clark, who is a Star Wars veteran and a Game of Thrones veteran, had a Christmas movie called Last Christmas that came out, and I'd never seen it. I was flipping through the channels and I saw it one night, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna flip this on and watch it. And it was actually really good. And you guys were throwing me crap on Twitter saying I lost my man card and that I couldn't talk about this stuff anymore. But it
I'm
was a
so
good movie.
disappointed.
It was such a good movie.
I think I threw a like on it. I didn't,
Okay.
I'm not judging. To each their own,
No. Here's the thing. It may be a good movie. It probably is. She's a wonderful actress. But in this realm that we're in of nerddom, you can't come at us with, oh man, Amelia Clark in this Christmas movie was just amazing. No,
Well, I've only seen her in Solo and Game of Thrones. I mean, so I didn't expect to see her in this kind of a movie.
yeah, but you just can't come at us with that, bringing that like that's your fire.
I was not what fire. All I said, hey, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. That's not fire. Fire is laying down the gauntlet. Like, if this is the Christmas movie of the year, go see it. I did not. It was not coming at fire, Alfie. It was more of a, hey, we're nerds about Game of Thrones and Star Wars. Here's a person from those genres who's doing a Christmas movie. You know, Michael Caine, who was in Batman and in other series, was in Muppet Christmas Carol. Is that bringing heat that I say you should watch Muppet Christmas Carol?
Hey, yeah, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, and he's in that new movie on, what is it, Apple TV? I still got to watch that movie.
It's actually very good, Alfie. So there you go. That's a good. I'm a Christmas.
I'm sure
fanatic.
it is.
Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, my dad is a tough as nails guy, and every year December hits, and the man is watching Hallmark movies every single day. And he is like, he's like, you look at him, you're nervous about him. And then there he is in the house. He has a coffee mug that, my sister bought him a couple years ago. It says, "Don't bother me. I'm watching my Hallmark movies." That's what the mug says. So nothing surprises me when it comes to, what people want to watch with their movies. I have no problem with the Christmas movies. I mean,
no, and that's fine. I get your guys' point, but you can't come into our group chat when we're talking about Game of Thrones and then mention, oh yeah, that's the girl from that Christmas movie that I really liked. It doesn't work backwards that way.
Okay. All right. Well, if it helps at all, my daughter sent me a text and said, "Dad, here are the movies on Hallmark this year that I think you should watch." I watched one. I haven't watched any of the other ones, but my wife cannot stand Hallmark Christmas movies. So it's a nice little battle here in the house. Alfie, speaking of battling, you sent us some nice videos and pictures of you at work, and I swear to goodness, you are from the prison on Andor and you're building the Death Star. That was, I mean, you could steal all that stuff from work, all that scrap, and you could build some serious artillery there.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I looked at that heap every day, and it's just like you're on a movie set. This could be in Star Wars. This could be Watto's junkyard or prison planet somewhere. It's been fun.
Yeah, all you got to do is start laying some sheet metal around that stuff, attach a couple hot lines to it, get a red light that turns on and will electrocute the floor, freak some people out with it. Real life movie.
Could probably do that.
Tell everybody take their shoes off. We
I don't know.
uh,
Nowadays, you could get slapped with harassment, if you want to see other people's feet, so.
wow, I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that. See, I'm just so naive. Alfie will tell you, I'm shamelessly just an introvert and naive. I don't think about those things.
I
Yeah,
learned that on Twitter. When I joined the Twitter world, I saw people will post a picture and they'll put black boxes over their feet. I had no clue what that was. And then I understood. I don't know, whatever. People like feet.
I'll ask
Oh
you
my
guys.
God.
There's three of us here. Does feet do it for any of you guys?
No,
No.
No,
I've
me
never
either.
understood that.
I think, if somebody's willing to pay for someone's old underwear or to see pictures of their feet, they have other issues that they need to take care of. Yeah, I don't. I have a hard enough time with 6-inch black figures and vintage collection. Hey,
Boy, this really took a turn for the worse.
I
I
told
mean,
you,
I'll take the
no
blame for
script,
that.
no script, and we're preparing for the holidays. I want people to know what the real Rule of the Galaxy is like. It's not all interviews and having guests on. We've done that. What it's really like is if they want to follow our text chain, we could probably make that into some kind of a little book and let them see what we talk about every day. Of course, we have to do separate text chains, as you guys know, because we could get in trouble for some of our texting. So, yeah, and they don't have to do with anything with feet, just to let everyone know. So Hot Toys. You guys showed me the Anakin Skywalker and the Padme. Those were ungodly. How awesome were those Hot Toys?
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't.
That Anakin really might be on my list. That is seriously one of the best looking figures I've ever seen, honestly. The details on that, they're absolutely insane. And Attack of the Clones isn't even my favorite movie,
No.
but just to see a figure that detailed, to have Hayden Christensen and Anakin in that stage of his life.
Yeah.
God, that would look freaking amazing on the shelf. That thing looked awesome.
And our generation, well, sorry, DDoc, me and Alfie's generation, we grew up with Prisoner Leia, as we would call her, Slave Leia. We grew up with that as being like every guy had to have the figure, they had to have the poster, the pictures in the magazine where she was in the beach with Darth Vader and
Rolling Stone.
Ewoks. Yeah, Rolling Stone. Yeah, I mean, you thought that was the coolest thing you'd ever seen in your entire life. But for the prequel generation, Padme in that white outfit when it gets torn up by the creature,
Forget about it.
no, that's a moneymaker. If I'm Hasbro right now, I'm figuring out how to make a 3 3/4, a 6-inch Black Series, Hot Toy coming out with the larger version. I'm doing a Barbie doll version of that thing, the whole shebang. That thing will sell. That I don't care. Little girls will like it. Girls who grew up at that time will say, "Oh, this is a great memory," and guys will just say, "Holy crap! Look how smoking hot that character is." I mean that's crazy. I mean, and
Little
when I
smoke
saw
show.
yeah, when I saw that Hot Toy, I was like, "How is that thing not going to sell out right away?" I mean, that's just, geez, yeah, Hot Toy.
Yeah, I need to look
Good
at the
job.
breakdown of the accessories. I need to see if that comes with a ripped shirt version.
Does it come with the
Can you
that
remove the
black
shoes?
dress she wore by the fire?
Oh,
Get off of the feet thing, man. That's weird.
Oh shit.
that
Yeah.
is great.
Did they even come out with a character of that, the black dominatrix?
With the choker on?
Yeah. Did they come out with a
Oh.
character of that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't
either.
even know how that made it into the movie.
Me either. I mean, I was a grown adult with kids at that time, and I watched that and I was like, how are they showing her in this outfit right here? Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, it was great, but and why would she wear that when she's letting him down? I mean,
Right. Hey, we're stuck in this building together and it's just the two of us and I'm breaking your heart, so I'm going to wear this to talk to you about it. Yeah.
right.
Okay. We'll get back on subject. Hey, you two, I have loved seeing your pictures. pretty much daily of your Star Wars advent calendars. Tell me about those, because without having little kids, I did not jump into that. How cool is that? It's Lego, right?
Yes.
Some
Yeah,
cool stuff.
I caught up to Alfie today. David, my little guy, caught up to Alfie. We have the sandcastle that
Gotcha.
Vader made. Yeah. So me and
We
Alfie are
did
working
Vader
in
yesterday.
opposite directions. So you got Vader in his beach gear.
Yes. It's
He's
been
got
fun.
his flippers.
Yeah, I like the flippers.
That's awesome.
I would like a little bit better directions.
Yeah,
And
they're horrible.
I will admit, maybe it just wasn't very smart of me, but I think it was the third day before I figured out that the semi-direction picture was on the back of the flap. I had been looking them up online because I couldn't figure out how to put them together.
Yes, they have the directions on the back of the flap, but honestly, they're like half-assed instructions. For like a kid, it's like, my kids have come pretty close, but they want it to they're like looking at it, like, can you build this for me? I'm like, all right, maybe I'll do this one. Like, there's no way you're going to figure that out. It's kind of just a picture of it sometimes, or only like half of it, and then you repeat the other half. But there's been a lot of great shout outs to a lot of new and old Star Wars stuff. And I mean, I wouldn't even say as much new. Again, I don't think there's been anything from sequel trilogy in it, right, Alfie?
The one I can't decide whether it's Kylo Ren's TIE fighter or if it's just a TIE interceptor.
Okay. I still gotta get to that one.
And then technically there is a B-Wing in the Rise of Skywalker, but
they have the oh my god, the what is it? The Skyhopper? Is that the toy that Luke that's in it?
Yeah.
That's a good one. There's a good clone trooper minifigure inside there. Really nice looking clone trooper. Republic gunship. Luke's land speeder. These are all minis of all of them, but
right.
It's just a fun little thing to see every day. It really is cool.
Going the opposite way. We haven't gotten to the good stuff.
I hope they keep it going, and I hope that next year they come out with a different one with different figs in it, everything like that. It keeps a tradition, right? You guys can have a whole stack of these things out every year, open them up, have them all out, kind of have a village of all your advent calendars out. I think that would be a good thing. Personally,
Yes.
I've missed it. I guess I'll start when Frankie's like 3 or 4, something like that, when he's able to mess with Legos actually. So,
yes.
But I'm glad.
It brings fun to every morning. Every morning is what antics did the elf in the shelf get into, and let's build our Lego before we go to school. So it does add a lot of fun to this like special time of year, like in the morning. Like it's cool to have that like right off the bat. It's definitely fun.
Good.
Yeah, it is fun. I think we have 4 different ones going right now. 2 of them are just chocolate, but the Nightmare Before Christmas one is really good.
That is my daughter Emily's favorite. She could talk about that. She actually has a quiz book about that movie. So
nice.
Believe me, I've not done very well on those quizzes. So you guys also are doing a lot of Star Wars ornaments. Now, my wife worked at Hallmark for probably 10 plus years. And so every year when the Hallmark release happened, she'd make sure we got every Star Wars and every Pittsburgh Steelers ornament that came out. So for 10 plus years, man, we were loaded on everything that came out. Now we just pick and choose. We're a little more choosy. We get an occasional one here or there, one of our favorites or something we like. But you guys are doing a good job. I've seen some of the things you posted on pictures, some good ornaments, everything like that. Before you talk about any of them that are like your favorites or anything, have you guys seen the tree topper instead of an angel or a star that is a Death Star? They have a light up Death Star that goes on top of your tree. It's $150. It lights up. It looks great. but I don't know that I could pull that off. But
You could buy a really nice Christmas tree for that.
yeah, yeah. Do you guys have any favorite ornaments or ornaments that are Star Wars related that you guys like having up on the tree or decorations or anything like that?
Mm, I think my favorite one this year that I've gotten was the Boba Fett Funko Pop. I think that was a pretty good one.
That is a good one. Yeah, I'd say the newest one that we got when we were in Disney World. We got the Grogu sitting on his little, sitting
Mm-hmm.
on the Jedi rock,
The stone?
zenning out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
So that one was special because like every time we go on a trip, whether it's like Disney or like a vacation, even if it's summertime, we always like to buy like one ornament,
Mm-hmm.
like just to like kind of remember the vacation. And that was the one we got. I had no influence on that, choice at all, but that was the one we chose in Disney World.
So
So
you guys, for those watching on YouTube, but you guys can obviously see this while we're talking. My favorites are I have the R2D2, Yoda, C3PO, and Darth Vader, all Christmas bobbleheads behind me. I've had those for I don't know how long, and you got them pretty cheap, like at Walmart or Target or whatever. But I keep them out a lot throughout the year. But looking at those outfits, it makes me think of one thing, and they remind me of Christmas in the Stars. Alfie,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think enough people today have the appreciation for Christmas in the Stars that you and I do. DDoc, have you listened to Christmas in the Stars with your kids? Do you have it?
I have not listened to it yet, and I remember from last Christmas. I remember you did. I think you did a couple episodes around Christmas time. You did one with your
Mm.
brother Tony, where you guys were talking about Christmas in the Stars. And this year, I actually was playing like the beginning of it the other day. But I'm like, you know what? I'll listen to this with like my little guy and like try to make a thing of it. So I will be listening to it finally this year. I never got to it last year. I never knew about it honestly until I heard you talk about it. So
Do you
Yeah,
know whose music career started with that album? That's their first recording.
I do.
Do you?
Do you?
Yeah, Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi. Yeah. He was on the Christmas in the Stars album as one of the singers. Yes, that's awesome.
It all comes back to Star Wars, man.
I tell you what, Anthony Daniels loved when I did the audiobook of Anthony Daniels, his biography, he loved making that because he got a chance to sing and interact. I mean, plus I mean, it's just extra source of income, but it was one of those things that he really enjoyed doing. And he does a great job on it. To come on, he kind of narrates it, but he sings along in it. And even my brothers and sisters who are not Star Wars fans, and my mom, who's not really a Star Wars fan, they all play it every Christmas because once I got it, I played it all the time. Of course, I played it on an album way back then. But I think DDoc, I think is it on YouTube right now? Alfie, is that pretty much one of the only places you can get it? Because it's not on like Apple
I don't
Music or
know.
anything like that. They
I'd have
don't.
to look.
I think you can. Like I've got recordings of it, but DDoc, when if you're looking for your son, I believe it's like on YouTube, so you have to check it out there. But look up Christmas in the Stars, and it'll lead you there. It'll either do it song by song, or it'll do the whole album. So I think it's worthwhile for if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't listened to it. It's a little cheesy every now and then, yes, but man, it's just fun. And to hear C3PO pretty much talking the whole way through it, and Wookiees and R2D2, and it just is a good fun time, and it adds to Christmas, especially when you're a Star Wars fan. So that's just my
yeah.
2 cents
Your
worth.
mom actually got me that for Christmas when I was
Way back
little.
when,
Way back when.
that's
Used to
awesome.
listen to it on the old Fisher Price radio player or record player.
That's awesome, man. I don't. When did it come out? Did it come out like 80 to 83, somewhere in those range? I mean, it was.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Because I just remember because I got a record player that year for Christmas. You remember the little brown Fisher Price
Oh
record
yeah.
player with the speakers? Oh yeah, that was big
Um,
living back then.
Hey, that was a boombox for us right there. That was, that was our iPod. iPod?
See,
Yeah. I can't even say iPod anymore without that sounding weird.
it does sound weird, actually.
Remember the books that came with the record?
I do remember that.
They
I
read
don't
along,
have
and you
them.
had to flip them over, and they had
Yeah.
sound effects and stuff.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when you would do the listen to a book on an album and look at the book. Yeah, that's we're old
Have the
people.
little chime to turn the page.
Hey, what do you guys think with all the vintage Boba Fett coming out now? Tim Morrison, he's telling people he wants Boba Fett going back to being a BA. Are we all in agreement? I mean, if Tim Morrison wants it back, and we all think, okay, the Boba Fett series had its ups and downs, but we really would have liked it to have been like that one episode of Mandalorian where he came in and kicked everyone's behind. That that's got to be the way they go in the future with Boba Fett, right? We can't make him soft and lovable the rest of the time. He's got to be out there kicking butt and taking names. From the Boba Fett guy, what are your thoughts?
I agree with that. This was just one chapter in the story, and I think this was just to establish that he's not necessarily the ruthless bounty hunter that he was. And really, the story said, at the end, I don't want to be a crime lord.
Right.
This isn't for me. I mean, to me, you're just setting up, the him to be, Mando's right hand man here in this Mandalorian war that's going to happen, and the Captain America to Iron Man for this Avengers team that they're going to build. But then again, looking to the future here, where are we leaving the sequel trilogy? Who's left? The First Order is destroyed. The Sith, whatever thing they were, they're destroyed. There's no Republic fleet.
No.
So let's say at the conclusion of Mando season 3, if Mando is the ruler of Mandalore and all the Mandalorians, and if Boba Fett is still a quasi crime lord, doesn't that kind of make them the strongest faction that's left in the galaxy?
Yeah. Yeah, because the people who saved the day at the end of the Rise of Skywalker were just a ragtag bunch of people that got together and got recruited by Lando and Chewie. I mean, they
Right,
weren't
and
an
it's
army
not like
or navy.
it's not like the original, trilogy where you had Mon Mothma and Leia and kind of a group of former Republic senators or Republic officials that were, in charge of this rebellion to overthrow the Empire. Now there's just nobody left.
Yeah, big vacuum. Well, let's face it, you guys. I mean, what characters do we sell the most? Clones and Mandalorians, right?
Mandalorians.
Well, wouldn't it make sense that if we wait and come all the way full circle to episode 10, 11, 12 of movies, if we come out with, hey, all those people you've been buying the characters of, they're back. And now here's a whole new color scheme of all of them, new battle armor, new everything. I think it makes complete sense to follow that up. Money wise, makes sense money wise. And obviously if that's what's selling, that's what got the popularity behind it. So I like the storyline and I like the marketing of it. So maybe take the Mandalorians coming back and saying we're laying down the gauntlet, we're in charge, and then you have someone like the Yuzong Vong come and attack the galaxy, and the Mandalorians and everybody have to go.
Don't
fight.
give me hope like that.
Well, we don't need another Empire. We don't need another Empire First Order. We need something outside for them to battle.
Okay, now I'm going to tie this in because you asked me to bring it up because we're going right into this news that came out this week about Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, Mando season 4. DDoc, did you read any about it?
I have not.
Okay. I know this is going to be kind of spoilery, but I mean, it's still a ways away. So the source that was reporting it is got a really good track record. So take it with a grain of salt. If you don't want to listen to it, fast forward or what? Is fast forward even still a thing?
Yes, you can fast forward on a podcast.
Yeah.
They do it like
Fast
15
forward,
minutes.
skip
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, skip ahead.
Okay, so basically, Skeleton Crew, and I read this multiple times. Skeleton Crew and Ahsoka are going to cross over,
Okay.
and we're going to open up to what. This isn't the final name or anything, but just from what I read, what the crew is calling the New Beyond. So I would, suggest that's probably pretty similar to the unknown regions that we've known about, in canon. But anyway, this is going to be on the quest for Ezra and Thrawn, but they're going to go to this new beyond to find them. How the Skeleton Crew gets there, I'm not really sure, but somehow they end up out to two. And, this is being described as a very Goonies in space kind of movie or series, sorry. But in this part of the undiscovered galaxy, just like in the EU with the Yusong Vong and the what were they, the Siri Rook? Is that how I don't know if that's how you said it or not, but the reptilian guys who came from the unknown regions.
Yep. And then you had the
Things
ones
are
where
different.
you had those, and you had what the like insectoid kind of people they ran into as well. Remember that?
Yes. I remember that, but I can't think of the names.
Me either.
But anyway, the Force is different as far as the way it's viewed, and this is going to lead to the discovery of the origins of the Night Sisters, where they come from, where the Force is seen more as magic, talking wizards and sorcerers and witches, that kind of thing. And we're even talking that this is going to tie into this, Mando season 4. So will this be, how Thrawn comes back? Is this who he brings with him? Are they coming to warn of this threat that's out there? But a very supernatural, I think, threat rather than an empire.
Interesting.
I've long said the reason that fans like the expanded universe is they had factions of empire kind of things lingering around, but that wasn't really the focus later on of who the enemy was, because people were kind of tired of empire versus rebel, empire versus republic,
right? Empire, new super weapon.
Correct. I mean, that got burnt out over a few years, and they're like, we got to do something different. And that's where these other alien factors came in, from the Chiss to the Ski Rook, or whatever, and to the Yuzong Bong, because it made those kind of forces join together. And going back to your theory and your thought of Mando and Boba being leaders of a rather large group of people, now they have to join forces with the remnants of this and that to go and fight these other people. And I think I like that story much more. And come on, give it to me in movie form. Let's go. I need movies.
Yeah. To add another wrinkle to that too, Alfie, you could throw somehow that this Jedi Survivor might tie into all that too, because think about how much you dealt with the Night Sisters in the Jedi Fallen Order game. They played a huge role in that game.
Right.
You spent a lot of time
point.
on what is it? Is it Dathomir where they
Right.
all are in that game?
Witches of Dathomir.
Yeah, so there's main characters in that too. And I mean, I saw an interview with, oh my God, what's the name of the actor who plays Cal Kestis again? I can't think of his name. I can't think of it at the moment. Either way, the actor who plays him, he just came out at the Game Awards holding the lightsaber out, crowd going crazy. It's cool to see that that's one of the most hyped games of the year, to see him walk out in front of a crowd with a lightsaber and people losing their mind. He's coming into live action, man. He is coming into one of these freaking shows or something. I have no doubt in my mind because he has a smile on his face when they're asking him questions about certain things, and he kind of gives, very short answers that don't tell you much. So
Yeah, I could see his story, just like Ezra's going out, to this beyond. And then is it cheating? I don't really think it's really cheating the story, but it is a nice way to remove the Jedi from, that problem of how did they survive? How did they not get caught by the Inquisitors? Why weren't they in the rebellion? Why didn't they fight at Endor?
No, I like it. I think look, we have Ahsoka, we have Ezra, we have Cal Kestis, all who could have missed the original trilogy, right? And gone and done these things outside of the galaxy they're in, and have to be brought back. I think it's what do you always call it? What do you call it? Story armor, or what do you Alfie?
Plot armor.
Yeah, go plot armor.
armor.
There we go. I mean, it's good plot armor, and you know what? It doesn't take a wormhole, and it doesn't take a time machine, and all those kind of things. It's available. It's available to us to use. Now, if you just bring back the World Between Worlds for Brent, everybody will be happy.
That's his favorite.
Yeah,
I think that could really work, DDoc, because I think all the articles I read said that mentioning, exploring the origins of the Night Sisters, and that it was going to be out, in this beyond where the Force is seen more like magic. So yeah, that would be, something for Cal to explore or go after to try to find out more about.
I am down.
Yeah.
Plus, it puts a ginger in charge of some big things, and that'll make DDoc happy.
Yeah. We need a ginger wielding a lightsaber. That's what we need.
That's right.
Because
when I watched Star Wars for years, that's always what I thought it was missing. That's the one thing.
A lightsaber wielding ginger?
Yes.
There we go. Exactly. That's what we need. So Cal Kestis is my guy.
I need a Jedi who's
show
going
up
to be
in live action.
Left-handed, pale, balding with a big nose. I want to be represented as a Jedi in the next movie as that. If you can find somebody who will do that, just let me know. It'll make me feel good to know that I'm. It doesn't matter if it's good in the story or not. Just make sure that.
Isn't that like kind of like Count Dooku in the animated? He's got more of a big chin than a big nose. He still has that kind of hooky nose.
Maybe Dooku and I are closer than we thought. Maybe I'll turn and be a part of the.
You're both so sophisticated.
Now that's making me think of a righty versus lefty lightsaber battle. Now that would be an interesting wrinkle into a fight. Although, like, sometimes I guess like they're almost, they pick up a second one and their left hand is as good as their right. Maybe that's something
because they're Jedi.
Yeah,
true.
That's true. But I never saw. Is there a left-handed dominant lightsaber wielder in any of the movies or anything? That's an interesting thing. I gotta go back to Attack of the Clones and see if there's any lefties in there.
Oh yeah, in the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 11% of the population is left-handed. So I mean, I gotta think there's some Jedi who are left-handed. But you're right. I think it's just like having a left-handed quarterback in the NFL. It's odd, right? It's weird. It's being a left-handed point guard in the NBA. It's not the norm. So being a left-handed Jedi has got to throw things off a little bit in your fighting style. So
it's like Apollo's trainer said, "I don't want you mess with no southpaw. They do everything backwards."
Yeah, exactly. So we're getting ready to have the Christmas season and the New Year's, everything like that. Are there Star Wars things that you do that are tradition? I know we talked about ornaments and the Advent calendar and Christmas in the stars, but are there things in your household that you do that remind you of being a kid? That when you get Star Wars stuff or anything like that? Any kind of Star Wars related things you guys can think of that wrap around this holiday season right now for either of you?
Well, I can go right away because, excuse me, everybody always loves to buy gifts for me because everyone always says I'm just a big kid basically with all this stuff that, I collect
Yeah.
still and everything, because it still gives them like an opportunity to buy that stuff for me because I still like it. Like, so, other people where you might be buying them clothes, like if someone's buying me a shirt, it's most likely going to be a Star Wars shirt. If someone's buying me like a random item, most likely a Star Wars Lego or something like that. They know I'm very easy to please. So I always look forward to seeing what people come up with, I'll say. I do have only one Star Wars item on a Christmas list this year, and it's the Lego ATTE, and that's pretty much it as far as Star Wars goes. I don't have any Black Series that I've requested. I don't have any Hot Toy. That was the big gift last year, was Hot Toy. But I mean, to me, Christmas always has to do with Star Wars because there is always, whether it's a Star Wars shirt, Star Wars socks, Star Wars pajamas, like anything along those lines. I know there's always at least going to be one or two things that have to do with it. So I always look forward to seeing what people can find when it comes to Christmas.
And before we hop to Alfie, with your son and him getting more into it, do you have things lined up related to Star Wars, or has he asked for anything related to Star Wars, or?
Yes.
Okay.
He has requested some Star Wars Legos because that's where he's getting into it now. So I'll be part of some of those if he does get what he wished for some of those. He wanted Obi-Wan's Starfighter Lego.
Okay.
So he likes Obi-Wan Kenobi. He thinks he's like the most mysterious guy out there. Like old man Kenobi, he's infatuated with him.
That's awesome.
He thinks he's like a wizard, he's like, he's an old Jedi, mysterious. Like he thinks he's cool. So yeah. And then when I tell him like, yeah, that guy in the prequels with the beard is the same as that guy, he's like, what? He can't can't comprehend it. It's so funny.
That's awesome. Good. Alfie, how about you?
As far as traditions go, it's just like DDoc said, it's always, I'm going to get something, at least something small that's Star Wars. Somebody is going to see something, get me in a white elephant or whatever. Oh, he's easy. You just get him something with Star Wars on it. As far as, are we getting any Star Wars? Yes. We actually had quite the discussion this year because I was told to not buy any Star Wars stuff for my oldest son because I just buy things that I want that, and then pawn it off that he wants it. And I said, okay, that's fine. And the first thing he told his mother that he wanted was the Dark Trooper Black Series figure. So he bailed me out there. Appreciate that.
That's a beautiful looking figure.
But your son, how old is Enzo again?
14. He just turned 14.
So I mean, there will come a time, and I think we all go through it at a different time, but there'll come a patch where he'll say, hey, for a handful of years here, I maybe don't need as much of that, right? I'm going to focus on things
he's
that are
there.
Yeah.
But there's still the occasional one that he really, really wants. Like, when we went to that Bloomington show, he really, we left them where he said, if I find anything, I want that K2 Black Series figure. And he's never asked for another one since then, except he said, I want the Dark Trooper.
Okay. Good.
So he's getting it.
Well, that's cool.
Now the youngest one, oh yeah, we got all kinds of stuff. But one thing I was really disappointed in was, you remember that little Millennium Falcon tent you sent me from the Disney store?
Yep.
Looks like the cockpit.
Yeah.
We ordered it. We got it. We're sending it back.
Didn't live up to
No, it did not. It is so small. It's ridiculous. And it was $80.
Oof.
It was expensive.
Or some plastic on some sticks.
Yeah. She hit the Disney store Black Friday It was like 5 days before Black Friday or whatever. You know how
Mhm.
they do it now. Pretty hard. It was a good sale.
Well, good. Well, I'm in Joey, of course, still wants a thing here or there. He's even though he's 29, he'll be like, I kind of want this over here. So there's an occasional item that we'll buy that's Star Wars related. You're right, just like you guys. For me, somebody somewhere, whether it's a relative, whether it's a work thing, whether it's, they'll be like, "Oh, that's a Star Wars guy. Just get him, go find something, and as long as it's got Star Wars on it, we're fine." Um, we're kind of in a lull of Lori and I really said, okay, we're going to pull back this year on Christmas because of the big trip. So it's not, we're not really going all out on Star Wars stuff for that. But Frankie's 3 months old, and
Yeah, you got to start saving up for next year. You might as well start saving now.
yeah, over the next over the next decade, I have a feeling Joey's going to be, hey, Frankie wants this, kind of like you were saying, Alfie, but really Joey wants it. So, but he can then
Hmm.
play with it with Frankie, right? So, I have a feeling we're looking forward to that, and that's okay. I'm excited about that and having that in the future, and that's really why I'm saving all these things here behind me. I told Lori, I was like, as much as you think I love all this stuff, I'm not taking it with me. When they either do whatever they're going to do with me and shoot me out in space like Spock, or whether they, burn me and I'm in a jar somewhere, I'm not taking this with me. So, that goes off to Joey and then to Frankie and if other grandkids like it as well. So I'm in that lull as well. And I'm looking forward to the future where I can go, all right, let's get the toy catalog out. Let's get Frankie sitting here and what do you want, little man? Let's go. So yeah, that's exciting. But I think this year will probably be a small, just a little hitch before we get back into the swing of the Star Wars thing again. So but yeah, so we've been going for a little while here, guys. But any closing things, any things you guys want to hit on before we'll kind of take a little break here over the holidays? Let you guys. I know I'm going 100 miles per hour over the next 2 weeks or so. Anything you guys want to hit on that we didn't hit on during the show before we break away?
Huh. I can't come up with any right now, honestly. I enjoy just riffing about random things, I'm sitting here thinking about Star Wars Black Series right now, and I can't help but to think it's like something weird is going on with me right now. I just have not. I was thinking today, what's the last Black Series I bought? And I think it was that Ahsoka that I got
Mm-hmm.
at a Best Buy, and I haven't bought any since, and my stores have been fully stocked in them. I don't know what's going on with me. I think I'm like subconsciously not buying them because I hate the new boxes. I think that's why I'm like I haven't bought any, because I know that it's coming. I should be buying right now while you can still see the figure. Like that Dark
Mm.
Trooper is probably like number one on my list right now. But
It's a really good looking one.
yeah, I just hate the boxes. I want to like I'm never good at boycotting anything when it comes to things like this, where it's like, oh well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. And now it seems like that's what I'm doing right now with Black Series.
Yeah.
I'm just so disappointed with the packaging. I do not like it at all.
Other than that Obi-Wan that I just bought, and I really only bought it because I think they only had two of them. That's why they get me, is if there's only one or two. Most of them that are coming out, they're not great enough for me to just buy themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're, yeah, I'd pick up this Han Solo archive if I was buying, a Mandalorian or something. I just can't get myself to buy it by itself. I know that sounds silly,
No, I,
logic wise, but
there are so I look, we've all talked about it. I've really limited to say, hey, I'm going to focus on these favorite characters and finding some old 77 or 78 through 85 that I'm missing here or there, right? But the only thing that I've got upcoming in any way, shape, or form is the 6-inch Black Series Mara Jade. I did, I don't even, it's probably a year away, right? Before it even gets a sniff of being here. But I just figured we talked about it enough, and that was one of my favorite characters that I'd never have seen a 6-inch of, and they've never had. So pulled the trigger on that. But heck, like I said, it might be a year from now when I get it. But you're right. I've just said, hey, let's put the brakes on this, especially with the boxes, especially with them not coming with, I've got some Obi-Wans from the recent series and things like that. But I'm kind of in that slowdown period as well. So let's see. I keep seeing announcements. There's going to be a lot going on in 2023. Let's see if this comes to fruition and we're all back on that horse again. So but
I'm
yeah,
getting
Alfie,
itchy.
Alfie, any closing things from you before we go away?
I don't know when we'll do our next show, but if it's not till after the new year, it's been a great year doing this with you guys. Look forward to it every week. I really can't believe we're still doing it, and we're close to 200 shows.
Yeah.
I mean that in no bad way whatsoever. I just thought this was going to be, a few times, and we're really chugging along here. For
Yeah,
some
and
reason, people like to listen to us, and it's fun. It's a lot
well,
of fun.
you guys have been so rock solid, and my life, whether it was the traveling or job or trying to look at some other business ventures and things like that, my life has been crazy hectic, turned upside down. And you two and Brent have been there the whole way and kept things going whenever I was not available or things were getting hectic. So I can't thank you guys enough. And yeah, I mean, heck, we're on episode 185 and 2022 is coming to a close. It's really hard to believe that, like you said, Alfie. I mean, when Joey said, "Hey, Dad, take this over for me," on episode 9, I think, I was like, okay. And here we are, 180, episodes later, and still chugging along. It's crazy, and it's been a blast. And the guests we've had, the listeners we have, the people that interact with us on social media, all that's been great. We've had so much fun, and for all of you, I mean, DDoc and Alfie have said it. Thank you. Have a good holiday season. Sit back and enjoy your family, your friends. Take it all in, and just life's crazy enough and hectic enough, and there's enough darkness out there in the world that let us be stupid for an hour or two and entertain you, and maybe have you interact with us about it, and just enjoy, because it goes pretty quick. And next thing you know, we'll be doing this show, and Frankie will be the host, and Frankie and Azalea will be hosting, and I don't know where I'll be at that time, but you guys are the best. Thanks so much, and yeah, we'll figure out a plan. We'll sit back and kind of percolate things as we get over the holidays to plan where we go in 2023 and what's going to go on, and where we travel to or anything like that. We'll put all that plan together. So to you guys, have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of our listeners. Thank you so much. Episode 185. I don't know if we're going to call it the foot episode. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
Alfie loves it.
but
That was like 2 minutes of the most awkward television on House of the Dragons, DDoc.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yep.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Until next time. Thanks. Go check us out. Rule the Galaxy. You know where to find us on all social medias, emails, everything like that. Go buy our gear on Etsy. And until the next show, may the force be with you.